Welcome back! This week we are working on this Barbie doll dress cake. I'm starting by sticking a 7-inch cake slightly off-centre onto a very large drum. I'm then adding my various fillings until I'm 4 cake layers high. Here I've already got my Barbie, which I've stripped of accessories, and I bought it because I thought she had a great hand on hip placement. But thinking back, you probably want to buy one that wears elegant heels and not trainers like I did. I'm just placing my doll up against the cake as I want the dress to start just above her bum. I'm carving a flat area at the front and starting to carve a dress to taper off towards the back. Make sure to keep all your offcuts as you're going to need them to build up the higher part of the dress. I'm sticking my spare pieces on with buttercream, just building it up high enough near her bum and starting to carve the shape of the dress at the front for her to sit in, and also taking off any sharp corners. Again, I'm using more offcuts to build out the trailing flat parts towards the board. Once you have your rough shape, you want to coat the whole thing in chocolate ganache to seal it in and give it stability. Next, you want to tie Barbie's hair up out the way and lift her arms so you can concentrate on her leg placement. I want her to look like she's stepping forward, so I have one foot sticking out. To secure her, I'm using this wire which I'm just measuring to either side of her hips and bending them around. Then, to make it more food friendly, we're going to replace the long parts of the wire with these cocktail sticks. I've just trimmed the wire down and I'm taping the cocktail sticks to the wire part. Once you're done, you should be left with this U shape. Push this down either side of her hips and bend the wire into position. She's actually really nice and sturdy now and not going anywhere. You've seen me do this lots of times. This is the toilet seat method, in where you're covering the board around the cake. I've left one foot out and I've covered the other to try and hide it. Please check the description box for a full tutorial on this method if you want a deeper step-by-step look. I'm then dampening her body and covering it in a hot pink sugar paste, just gently pressing it to her contours and trimming the excess from the back. Then I'm adding a little bit of shape to her dress by cutting in a V and taking it down under her arms towards the back. Take off any excess from the bottom too. With the Dresden tool, you can create any type of dress you like. I'm adding a few gathers to her waist. For the ruffles on her skirt, I'm starting with a really pale pink, rolling it thin and just cutting out these long soft shapes. You just want to thin out the edges with a ball tool or just use your rolling pin. Gather them up so the edges are closest to you and start sticking them to the front of her dress, hiding that straight leg if you can. I'm covering the whole inside of her dress with the pale pink, just pulling the ruffles towards you. I then made up a batch of a slightly deeper shade for the whole rest of her dress. Just keep cutting those soft shapes and gathering them, working your way towards the back. You'll see some of my shapes start to get bigger and wider as I get round the back. Just make sure you push any joints together so you don't see that ganache underneath. I've then switched to my deepest pink, which is Renshaw's Hot Pink, and I'm adding swags across the front of her dress. These are just shorter soft shapes cut out in the same way, and I'm covering the very top part where it meets her body. You can hide the join if you like with a small sausage of paste, and also the same at the back if you want to add more detail. For a quick cheats bow, I'm pushing this pink into a soft triangle shape, leaving it quite chunky, and then hollowing the centre out with the large end of the Dresden tool so it looks like the loop of a bow. Stick this where your material gathers at the hip and mark in some crease lines. Once you have two loops together, hide the centre with a small oval of paste, again adding more creases. Now the dress is on, you can start to position her hands to see how she will look best. This is why you should buy a Barbie who is wearing heels and not trainers. Mine has a completely flat foot, which is really hard to get to look elegant in a pair of sugar shoes. I'm just wrapping it in sugar paste, tucking it underneath, and then adding a small tapered piece to the back to complete the shoe. I'm then attempting to tuck in a small heel, again not ideal when your foot is completely flat. We're just going to call her Sensible Heel Barbie. Now you can go all Rapunzel and let down that hair. To be honest, it's pretty much what mine looks like if I haven't washed it for a few days. Just try to smooth it the best you can. I'm then taking some piping gel. You want piping gel instead of water for this, and I'm picking up some tiny dragées, attaching them to the front of the dress. With a little bit of patience, you can actually get them to line up if you want and create a little Y pattern on the front of your dress. I also added a few here and there to her waist. In the main pink colour of her dress, I'm adding some little shoulder straps. You can pretty much make any style of dress you want. To give her a princess look, we're going to be making a little tiara. You want something round in two sizes. I'm using this cell pin and a ball tool. You want to grab your wire and wrap it around your largest circle first. That makes the central large hoop. Then take your smaller one, place it to the side and wrap the wire around this. Once more on the other side of your large loop and you've created a little tiara. You can of course keep going with smaller loops if you want, such as cocktail sticks. Measure this against her head and bend the wire. Trim off any super long parts and slide it around her head, pushing it into a loop around the back. I'm finishing off with the name on the board. I'm using these sugar press letters, just lining them up and pressing them gently to leave a very faint impression. Not that you can see from my big head, but I was actually painting letters here, using gold paint. Everything I use will be linked in the description box below. No princess cake is complete without glitter. I'm a big fan of the Sugar Flare white glitter pump, which finishes any cake off with a huge cloud of sparkles. And we're done. I'd love to see this done in different colours, and remember to try and pick up a Barbie with good hand placement but also arched feet to make it easier to add heels. She didn't quite look right in her Adidas pair. Hope you enjoyed watching this tutorial. You may have noticed I have a slightly different background. This is the first tutorial done in the new studio, but there's still lots of work to be done. Give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment so I know you're still watching, and I'll see you again next week. Bye guys.